this, but there was just an article I read about karaoke and the best songs to sing.
Yeah.
Yes.
And they say don't sing anything that you think you sound really good.
Oh, yeah,
Because you probably don't.
Yes.
A lot of the songs that get you dancing too are just hard. They're like high pitch or whatever.
Well, and no one's going to be dancing if you're butchering the song.
That's true.
Well, and karaoke is all about having fun. So if you're taking yourself too seriously and trying to hit the notes like Mariah.
Right.
You're going like,
Don't pick a Mariah Carey song.
Yeah, exactly.
no,
Period.
pick one, because that would be funny. I like to hear really bad karaoke singers.
Yeah. Really, not mediocre, but
No,
really bad.
really bad.
Really bad.
Yeah. Well,
So
should we do that? I'm sorry. Go ahead.
You should just dedicate one of these to just
We have more
karaoke.
serious things to talk about.
Okay, sorry.
Yeah, come on.
well, what some people think is really bad is the heat because it was record breaking yesterday.
Yeah.
What is up with you,
No,
Ben?
I'm just, yes, Larry, please tell us. The heat.
Stop it.
Okay, well, it was 99 yesterday, and that was a high for all of October and this year.
Yes, it was.
So
And we
why?
start- we
What's
started-
happening?
It's just Mother Nature has a problem, and she's.
Yeah, she does.
Yes. I don't know what the deal is, but she is going to change this weekend. Oh, hello there.
You're in the hot seat,
I didn't
so to
realize
speak.
there's no weather at the very top here, but we could do that.
Well, not your forecast, but more just talking. You know, we did the
Okay.
whole
Yeah.
survey this morning asking people what would be worse to you the month of October, the blistering heat, or would you rather, or do you think it would be worse for it to be?
Personally, I like the heat. I can deal with that. I don't
See,
like cold.
I think though, I think
like
this is a reflection though of the situation we're in right now. I think most people in the South, in Charlotte, would say that they think being cold is the worst.
Yeah.
I think in most situations. I think what you have here though is that we're in October after a hot summer.
And it shouldn't
and
be.
people
Here's
are
the thing.
people are over the heat at this point. They're like, hey, I'll
Well,
take
when
cold.
they hear fall, they will fall.
Yeah.
Right.
My question is this. Is this like you got to sit outside? Is this question like you can't get any relief?
Oh, you need the conditions. Like,
I need the conditions. Or is this like what's worse? Just like,
Well, I think being outside. Would you rather be outside in the really freezing cold or the?
scorching.
well, if you have a lot, I don't want to be outside in any of these conditions.
But if you had to be.
I don't have to be.
But if you did.
Yeah, so you could still go vote if you disagree or agree.
What is worse? I think the cold. I don't know. Maybe the cold.
The other thing that we mentioned is
No, the heat.
Okay.
Oh, the cold.
Can I have a face warmer? Like, you know,
sure.
then I can do the cold.
I've seen some of your coats, and I think you'll be just fine in the cold.
Yeah, that's true.
But the rain too. It has like been
Drought.
Very dry. Yeah.
Yeah, we
Wow.
definitely
That's,
need it.
everybody's been talking about that. My yard is embarrassing. It's
Yeah.
so bad.
I'm embarrassed for you.
Yeah, I'm glad you are.
People are talking about it really.
They are people
They're trying to kick you out.
nationwide are going, why
Your
does
neighborhood
this?
association really they have a
it
bone
looks-
to pick with you.
I just call it the Sahara Desert.
Yeah.
And, yeah, it's since September, almost 3 1/3 inches below where we should be. And so far, no rain for October. But next Monday, there's a chance of rain.
Okay, we'll show you that exact forecast at the end of this Facebook Live. in a couple
Ooh,
of
that's a
minutes.
great tease.
Yeah, it is.
Wow, that'll keep you. So the next big topic, we talked about this on our morning show yesterday, the Amber Guyger case in Dallas. They just sentenced the former Dallas police officer yesterday to 10 years in prison, which means she could be eligible for parole in 5 years.
So the backstory of this is Amber Guyger's a police officer. She walked into an apartment she says she thought was her own, but it wasn't. It was her neighbor's, and she thought the person who was in that apartment was an intruder. But it was actually the person who
Lived
lived
in that
there, and
apartment.
she shot and killed that man.
both of them, Jean, who was eating ice cream, watching a movie.
Watching a movie, just doing what people do in their own house.
Right. So the state had requested a minimum of 28 years for her sentence, and then the judge actually told the jury that they could consider sudden passion, which when I was reading up on that this morning, that's when you can determine if she acted out of sudden strong impulse or if it was a premeditated crime.
But the difference is that's manslaughter then, and she was not being charged for manslaughter. She was being charged for...
Yeah, but I think it might be different in Texas.
Okay.
I mean,
That's what I was
you get
confused
into
about.
legal definitions in different states that matter. So she's sentenced to 10 years, and it's interesting in this because I feel like there are complicated emotions in this from all sides. There's probably about 5 sides in this, if not more, of people saying this is not enough, that African Americans are not treated the same way in our legal system.
They're not showed as much mercy.
And there's definitely an argument to be made for that, for sure. While at the same time, they're criticizing Botham Jean's brother, who was asking for a hug in court. That's what made national headlines last night.
We have the clip if you want to.
Yeah, let's take a look at the clip real quick.
I forgive you.
And the point I was making is I think people are unfairly criticizing him. You can have two things can be true. There can be inequity in the criminal justice system. I think most people think that's probably happened.
Yeah.
But you can also say this is a brother who is allowed to grieve in his own way, and anybody telling him anything else needs to shut up because
it's none of their business.
It's none of their business. And you can, both things can be true.
Yeah, I think whenever I was covering it this morning, and we were talking in the newsroom before, like there's so much to all of this, and it's difficult to cover all of it in one hit on television because it's like one sense where people are saying, wow, I could never be that forgiving that quickly, and then other people upset that they're judging him or saying, you know, why did you say that you want the best for her?
Do we have that one tweet that you show that had the still pictures of?
Yeah, we do. If you click through, it was the one before that, so we'll have to click a couple times. So there were many moments that were powerful. One that Ben was mentioning of Botham's brother. Then you see the judge hugging Amber on the right picture, and then below you see an officer with her hand on Amber's back. And so a lot of people are saying, yeah, that's powerful, but then they were bringing in the perpetual problem of the justice system, saying that, you know, that kind of mercy is not shown in the reverse case.
Sure, and I think you can make that point, and I think it's a valid point. But let a brother grieve the way he wants to grieve, because the people who are saying that are often the people who are criticizing how he's grieving, which I just think
right. So I totally agree with you. I think showing compassion and showing forgiveness is, in this case, I will say it's unbelievable. Most people can't believe that this family feels that way. However, it is not any of our business to tell someone else how they can grieve the loss of their brother. At the same time, I do understand people saying, like, this doesn't make sense and this says something about the justice system, but I think those two things should be separate.
Well, it's the power of forgiveness. If you use it from a religious standpoint, from a Christian standpoint, I mean, you are asked to forgive people for things like that, and he was taking that to heart, and that was his expression. So, as you're saying, Ben, you know, let him express what he feels
100%.
personally, whether you disagree or not. That was his way of grieving. It's tragedy all the way around.
And
it's very sad.
He was saying that, like, if his brother were here, this is what he would want. And it just personally, it brought me back to when it was a different situation, but when my uncle was killed and we were in the courtroom, and both of the families from the suspect side and the victim side, we all like crossed the aisle and everybody hugged, and it was like that's when healing started for us. And people kind of thought, wow, that's crazy. And so maybe the family, you know, I know the mom, Allison John, said that that 10 years for her, she didn't seem too upset by it. She just said that 10 years should be 10 years of reflection for Amber and to change her life, and then kind of refocus now the next step of what needs to take place or what needs to be focused on.
I'm still so confused about how this even happened. How did she, I mean, was she on something? How did she?
Well, you know, if you have a multi-floored building.
Right, but all the things when you walked into the doormat was different. The setup is different. Everything looks different. How do you not? Do you know what I mean? Something.
Some people make mistakes. I mean, when I was in college, in my dorm room, there were two occasions where one guy came and went to sleep in my dorm room, but it was, you know, it was like on the 5th floor, and he was on the 6th, and the other person was on the 12th floor. Somehow they got the wrong floor. I mean, it's not a justification for it, but you know, she just went to the wrong floor. You know, not paying attention. But she should have realized.
That's what I'm saying. I don't understand that she didn't. All the things that were triggers. That was about poor use of words. The things that should have. Put in her mind, this isn't my place. Like the doormat. Everything looks different in here. Why is the TV on? What? Right? Like, if she wasn't under the influence of something.
It is hard.
It's hard to believe. That's all I'm saying.
Well, and when you walk in and given that he was like just on the couch with ice cream,
not doing
you wouldn't
anything
think
threatening.
that he would be a threat, right?
It makes you wish she was a police officer, so it's understandable. But it's unfortunate that she was armed.
Because had she not been
armed, then this would never have happened. She's a police officer.
Right.
Of course she's going to have one on her. I'm just saying, in that circumstance, it's unfortunate because she would have had a chance to realize, oh, wait a second, where am I? and he wouldn't have lost his life.
And you know what? This makes me think about like the trauma that police officers have.
Sure.
I know it's taking a leap, but like I can't imagine being a police officer. The fear that every single day that you have to put in the back of your mind that as you approach a suspect or.
And the other thing she'll be dealing with in prison is the fact that she is a police officer and she's going to prison.
To general population, yeah.
And that will be a whole different situation
Yeah.
for her.
Sure.
Something that I think people said took the turn in the case that led to the conviction of murder was when they asked her, when you shot or when you like raised your gun to shoot him, did you intend to kill him? And she said yes.
Yeah.
And
The mother said the thing about shooting in the heart, if they weren't trained to shoot to kill, things would be different.
right, because police officers are trained that when you raise your gun to shoot, that you are.
And then, of course, people looking at her social media and finding things that were racist, calling to that, saying that this was motivated by something else. There's so many things at work here. I just think that the bottom line is with this story, let a family grieve the way they need to grieve because we don't know what it feels like to be them, to lose somebody.
And the nation was watching that. So what a powerful message that maybe that family decided they were going to send. So we'll continue following that because now the next thing in this is going to be how the city of Dallas, what they look into. The police department is launching an internal investigation, so probably won't be the last that we hear about this case. So we'll continue to follow that. I don't know if you guys saw, switching gears here yesterday, that a woman jumped over a fence
Yeah, isn't that crazy?
at the Bronx Zoo.
What is going
Did you
on
see
here?
this?
Yeah,
I
that
did.
was unbelievable.
I don't get
This
it.
lion?
I don't either.
Why though?
Taunting this lion, and you go, speaking of somebody on something.
But yeah, like something was really weird.
I mean, I'm so confused.
If you've ever watched one of the nature shows and you see what a lion is like in the wild and how they attack something, this woman is lucky to be alive.
Very lucky to be that close and taunting the lion.
Why?
Like this.
Did we ever figure out why?
So
I haven't heard.
I don't know. I'm sure she was arrested, obviously, because that's illegal. But the lion didn't do anything.
I actually feel bad for the lion.
I feel so bad for the lion. Like,
Because-
leave the guy alone.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Probably.
Probably the only thing keeping him from
Oh,
doing it
is there
what-
sound? Let's listen. What?
I just think she's mentally disturbed, probably, and
Probably the only thing keeping from the lion from attacking her is he's just confused. He's like, what?
You
in
know
the
what?
world?
And the thing
Yeah.
that's so sad is had that lion attacked her, you know that they probably.
They would have put down the lion.
Yeah, and which is so unfair. Because
Absolutely would have put down
that
the lion.
woman
That's
should
true.
not be in that lion enclosure.
No.
Yeah.
Poor lion.
Okay, so before we run out of time, we have to get to this topic that is going to just get Ben going this morning.
I feel strongly about
Okay,
this.
so there's this man in North Carolina that just was awarded $750,000 for the alienation of affection law. Okay,
Which I have heard of. I have heard that law before.
And several other states have a similar law. So his wife cheated on him, and the man that cheated with his wife had to pay this.
So the husband sued the wife's lover and was awarded $750,000 because of this alienation of affection law.
why didn't the wife have to pay as well?
Right.
That's what Ben is saying.
I just think this is ludicrous. This is like when you hear the term, it's a legal term, but no fault divorce. I mean, because relationships are complicated things. And I don't know anything specific about this case, but I would say this applies to almost any situation like it. I mean, you have a woman who decides to have an affair and you want to blame the other guy. The other guy had no obligation to that husband. He didn't probably even know the husband. And then
Maybe didn't first know that she was married.
yeah, and exactly. And then you say, okay, well then blame the wife, sue the wife, and ask her for $750,000. Well, then she's probably going to come back to you and say, well, you know what? My husband hasn't touched me in 20 years. I wanted to go and feel that again. Who can fault her? Like, these are all very, very private things.
Right.
And relationships are complicated. So the idea that you can blame somebody outside of your relationship for there's
Then they
never
have to pay all that money?
there's never
So-
one dynamic that is the end of a relationship. And I don't know. I just think it's
I wonder how many times this, law has awarded somebody, and maybe in the reverse. Like if the
Yeah.
man cheats, can the woman sue the woman?
You don't hear about it very often.
No, you
Can the
don't.
woman sue the
First of all,
mistress?
you have to take that to court. You have to
gonna
say,
look
I'm
this
going to give
up.
up all my privacy
Yeah.
and take my personal matters to court into public So I think that's what that probably
Discourages
a lot of people from following through. Otherwise, we hear about this all the time.
And our thoughts with this couple. I mean, it stinks to have to go through that. I mean, but
Like divorce is already
it's tough,
difficult.
but I don't know.
Okay, the woman could sue the mistress if it was the.
Yeah.
I do have to say something about this, though.
Yeah.
Please.
I think that there is karma, right? Karma is as we've heard.
Yes.
You know the term.
Yes.
I will not say it.
We want to see you tomorrow morning.
I should say it, and I won't be here for a while.
You get Friday off.
Here's the thing. Morally, is it wrong for someone to engage, whether it's you're committed to the person or not? If you know the person has a husband or a wife, you should not be engaged with this person in any sort of way, because morally that's wrong.
Agreed.
But are we in the business of being like the moral police?
Taking morals to court.
Right. Because if we are, then we could take a lot of things to court. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
But it's a law in North Carolina.
I know. I don't think anybody should be doing anything that hurts someone else's feelings. But I think in order to actually take this to court, that husband had to be bitter. I think the problem is this. That keeps him being bitter, and he's not moving on because he's
100%.
too focused on his wife. So he needs to say, you know what, honey? If you want to cheat on me with that guy, that is your problem because I am everything and you are the worst. Goodbye. And then he can find someone new.
You're like a life coach now.
You're welcome. That was free advice.
Bye-bye. Okay.
Do you know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah.
He's tied up in the court. It's going to take him forever. Now he's that guy who sued, and now he's not very attractive to other women because they're like, he seems like he's really hooked on his wife.
Okay, wait.
I don't disagree with you at all.
Right? Like other women are going to be like, he's so into his wife that he spent all this time to sue. Like, why doesn't he just get rid of her?
This is a daytime movie, not daytime, but
Lifetime.
Lifetime.
Yeah,
movie.
Okay.
Yes.
The other thing, real quick, before we get the forecast, $750,000.
Yes. Whoa.
Who puts a price tag on that? It should be $750 million if his heart was really trampled.
Oh, I was thinking the
I'd go at least for a
750,000 was
million.
like a lot.
Right? Like, let's just do a clean million.
And where's he going to get this money?
Well, that's the thing. If he doesn't pay, then it goes on his credit report.
Has the identity of this man been revealed?
like-
Maybe
this
this
is
is like a celebrity or something.
Is
and they've
this
got all
real?
this money.
I'm looking
Like
this
a
up.
medieval law.
Let's just talk about the weather.
Okay.
It's easier.
Yeah, it's much easier, much hotter. It's
I
sweaty.
don't know if it's easier, but
steamy.
Not right now, actually.
It's record-breaking. 98. It's October. What's going on here? Tomorrow's still hot, but the weekend, if you've been looking for some sort of relief from the heat, 74 on Saturday, Sunday, 80. Monday, we have a chance of rain with some rain. And even, look, the temperatures on Tuesday and Wednesday next week, those highs are the current temperatures in the early morning hours.
I'm here for it.
This week, low 70s next week.
I know I keep on asking,
Yeah.
where do we stand as far as the most 90-degree temperatures in the summer yet? Are we like...
We're like number 4 on the
Number
list.
4, okay.
Yeah, we may get up to number 3. Hang in there.
Alyssa said, do we know if the man she cheated with doesn't know the husband? She could see it if it was his best friend or something.
Well, let me tell you something. In that case, then
Alyssa,
I would even say...
right? Is that how you pronounce it?
Or Lisa, I would say this. I would say even if they know each other, I still say what happens in a relationship is so complicated, and there's so many dynamics to blame any one person in or out of the relationship.
Can I tell one quick real story about
Please.
a situation like this?
Oh, no.
George Harrison of the Beatles.
Yes.
Yes.
Good friend Eric Clapton. Eric Clapton fell in love with George Harrison's wife, and George said, if you'd like to have it, go ahead. It's okay.
And that's what happened.
That's what happened. So,
I mean, that's really evolved. I'm not sure everybody can be quite to that level, but
Karen, I'd like to know more about this. My father always said, you lose them like you get them.
true. True.
Right. You know what? That's a very good
What
point.
does that mean?
That means that this dude who's with this chick, she probably was with someone else.
Oh, that does happen.
And now this woman is with this new guy, and guess what? She's probably going to do it to the new guy
Like
too.
once a cheater, always a cheater.
Yeah.
Yeah. Yeah.
ooh.
Wow, riveting conversation
There's a
this
nice
morning.
country song to be written about this one.
Right. And a Lifetime movie.
We'll see you tomorrow morning on Wake
Attaboy.
Up Charlotte.
Every Friday.
I want to sue somebody.